You are listening to the Byron Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Byron is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Byron on social media at ByronCraigShow.com. And now, Byron and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Byron Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. All right, there is another major breaking news story in regards to the Biden document scandal. And this just broke just a few minutes ago. It's huge. I mean, I was talking this morning, this new scandal, which I may review later in the program. I talked about this morning on the radio about how Hunter was getting the documents, and that's a very detailed thing. We'll get into that in just a bit. I want to get to this news story first, but there have been major bombshell stories at least once a day.
Oh, yeah.
That are really, really criminal. More crimes are revealed every day in this Biden document scandal. And this news story I have, like the one this morning with Hunter, is bringing in other people. Biden has protection. The only president who will ever face criminal charges will be Donald Trump. The establishment will not bring charges against Joe Biden. It's not going to happen. So there's a big push going on to get him to resign by the Democrats. The Democrats, Barack Obama in particular.
But nobody's called for that yet. Nobody has
not
come
publicly.
out and publicly
not
said,
publicly. They're
but
doing
it
it behind the
does
scenes.
seem like they're trying to make that happen.
Yeah, they're doing
but
it.
It's not going to happen.
They're doing it behind the scenes. It is going to happen. I'll tell you what's going on here.
I don't think he'll do it.
Oh, yeah. He's going to have no choice. What's going on, the Democrats are pushing him to resign. He's giving them resistance, and he's about to announce he's running for re-election.
Yeah, that's why this is coming out now.
So the story I'm going to share with you now that's just breaking, like the story this morning, is starting to involve people other than Joe Biden, in particular, other family members that don't have the protection from criminal prosecution that a president would have.
I think when he ran, I think they really felt he would be a one-term president. And maybe he told people that behind the scenes. I don't think they felt he would run again.
Yeah.
This was he was meant to be kind of an interim to go against Trump and be an interim president until somebody better came along. And I think that's how they thought of it, because they really didn't have anybody else. I mean, you know, Hillary was a disaster, and she was humiliated. And so I think that was kind of the way they looked at it. And this scandal broke, like you said, right when he was about to announce he was going to run again. And that is the last thing they want. And I think they really want Kamala to be the president, even though I don't think she could even win the primary, okay? And I think they know that too. If she became president now, she'd obviously run again. Newsom or Cuomo, one of those guys is going to run. They're going to beat her. She's not even close to be able to win a primary on her own. But they want to get credit, and I think Obama is really orchestrating this to have the first female president who's a woman of color. And I think they really want to make that happen on their watch and just have that under their, that notch on their belt. And I think Obama and Kamala have a lot to do with what's going on here.
Well, something happened with Joe where they can no longer control him, and they're making these moves on these documents. So here's
him wanting to run again.
It's more than that.
I think a big part of it. Well, that's a big part of it.
It's
too.
more than that.
I don't think they thought he would.
What's coming, what Biden is facing now with this classified document scandal, there's a spy scandal going on now. So here's the new bombshell story. Biden's 68 days of silence on the documents. And this is huge. I don't know how many of you realize this. We are living through the biggest presidential scandal since Watergate, and this is much more severe than Watergate. Okay, let me go through this. And this is in the Daily Mail. This just broke, all right?
Oh, boy.
President Joe Biden and a small team of trusted advisors, including his sister Valerie. Now, Valerie, Biden's sister, has been the campaign manager of every one of his campaigns going back to his first Senate run, okay? So she's up to her eyeballs in all of his crime, right? President Joe Biden and a small team of trusted advisors, including his sister Valerie, plotted to keep the discovery of classified documents a secret. betting that they could quietly handle the problem without it becoming public knowledge. A bombshell new report that came out today says. Now, there's more before we go on. To just go back to the Nixon Watergate, you've heard liberals our whole lives say the cover-up's worse than the crime. The reason they said that is because Richard Nixon was not involved in the break-in, okay? He was involved in a cover-up. The guys that did the break-in, he was trying to raise money to pay them off to go on vacation so they'd be out of town and the scandal would go away. What we have now is Biden. This morning we had a story of Hunter actually getting the classified documents from someone, right? Kathy Chung. Okay. And he gave him classified documents, which I will get into later in the program, because that's very, very specific documents that are highly classified, very sensitive. And then he would take them out of Biden's Senate office when he was vice president.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So now we got Biden's son, Hunter, directly involved in a
How long
spy
has he
scandal.
been taking classified documents?
Well, that was
he doing it when he was a senator?
I don't know. Well, when he was vice president, he had the daily briefings.
Did he do
and
it
all
before that? Though?
We don't know. Well, just let's stick with what we know. That was when he was vice president. So now we got Hunter involved in stealing classified documents from his dad's Senate office when he was vice president. Now we have another family member involved. Valerie, Joe Biden's sister, is involved in a criminal conspiracy to hide the crime of the classified documents. Okay, and this just came out today. For 68 days, they succeeded keeping it secret. Then it blew up in their faces. Biden and 6 of his closest advisors, all of whom were aware of the initial discovery of classified documents at the D.C. fake think tank, gambled they could keep the matter a secret and deal with the Justice Department privately. So now we have his sister and 6 other advisors. None of these people have the protection that he has from prosecution, involved in trying to cover up a crime and work out some really criminal deal with the Justice Department not to pursue it. They chose to keep silent and convince the Department of Justice it was a simple mistake. I'm reading from the Daily Mail, which is liberal, so they're going to say some things about Donald Trump, which are not true, but I don't want to get sidetracked on Trump. So they go on to some things about Trump, which we're not going to get into. Their plans backfired. This is the Biden cover-up team. Their plans backfired when CBS News reported on the existence of the Biden documents on January 9th, leading to a chain reaction that developed into a full-blown crisis for the White House, where Joe Biden's reputation took a hit. Really, he had a good reputation, Joe Biden. Did you see that video of him with his granddaughter kissing her and touching?
He does not have a good reputation.
Republicans accused him of hypocrisy. Democrats questioned the administration's judgment. Both their attempts to control the story and to handle the Justice Department failed. The Attorney General, Garland, appointed the special counsel. Biden himself has taken a personal hit with his refusal to disclose. It goes on and on and on. But what we have now are a whole bunch of people involved in all kinds of activities.
It's all his family, too.
His private attorney, Bob Bauer. Anita Dunn, who's a senior advisor to Biden. And you may remember Anita Dunn. She was with Obama. His sister, Valerie Biden Owens.
His brother's involved, too, and his son.
Yeah, another White House lawyer. Another White House advisor is involved. Some of these are not well-known names.
Incredible.
Another one of his attorneys at the White House. So here's a timeline. Let me skip to the timeline because we kind of know about the timeline. Okay, here we go. The initial discussions, this is in this team of conspirators with Biden to cover things up with the sister. The initial discussions on how to deal with the discovery were tightly held by a core group of Biden loyalists led by the husband and wife team of Bob Bauer, who is Biden's personal attorney, and Anita Dunn, who serves as a senior advisor to Biden in the White House. But Anita Dunn's the one I said she worked for Obama. Also in the discussions for the cover-up of this document-gate were Biden's sister, Valerie, White House senior advisor Mike Donilon, White House counsel Stuart DeLeary, White House lawyer Richard Sauber.
A lot of people.
But taking the public beating has been Jean-Pierre. Now, Jean-Pierre, and this is an interesting thing here because a couple days ago, Jean-Pierre in the White House press briefing was asked by the CBS News White House correspondent, when did you find out about the documents at the think tank? She says, I found out when you reported them. So, and I told you guys a few days ago, when Jean-Pierre said that, she knew about a cover-up team.
She did.
And she wanted everyone to know.
She was covering her ass.
That she was letting everybody know she had nothing. Well, she wanted everybody to know that she had nothing to do with this criminal.
Yeah, she didn't even know about it.
This cover-up that we're breaking here, this is obstruction of justice. They found out about crimes and tried to cover the crimes up. Justice Department's law enforcement tried to go to law enforcement and get them to be corrupt and not investigate or prosecute or do anything about these crimes. That's a hardcore criminal conspiracy to cover up some of the worst crimes. And the worst is always murder. Then you got rape. The worst crimes that American can commit, other than those very violent crimes, is spying. And that is, when you take documents that are classified, you're taking them for a reason. They're valuable. You want to show them to somebody in exchange for something. That's what spies do. There's a spy operation that's been uncovered here with these documents. And now we've got this cover-up squad. All of these people that are mentioned in this article that were involved in the cover-up committed multiple felonies that would send you to prison for decades. So this is how they're going to get Biden to resign. They got his sister and his son already jammed up. These other people he doesn't care about.
His brother's involved too.
He cares about his sister and his son. His brother does a lot of the business dealings. But with the documents and the cover-ups, we've got Hunter stealing the documents, and we've got his sister involved in this cover-up to try to get the Justice Department not to investigate and keep it from going public and to hide these crimes. Well, I never bought that cover-up's worse than the crime. And I don't know if that's exactly true, but the cover-up certainly makes the crime worse.
Let me ask you with Nixon, the guys that broke into, who were they working for? Who got them to do that?
We really don't know.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? You were talking about it today. I'm thinking Nixon was set up.
He was.
I think they broke in as part of the setup. I think it was all orchestrated. And they broke into to the office of this, the Watergate building. I think they broke into it and then they made it known and they did it to get him to resign. I think the whole thing was a setup.
I would not be surprised.
I mean, the way politics work, I don't think he had a lot of friends in Washington, Nixon. And when you were talking about it today on the radio, that's what dawned on me. I said, you know what? I bet this whole thing with Nixon, they wanted him out. Yeah. And they created this robbery. They created this whole scenario where he had to be forced into, and then somebody probably whispered in his ear, you should do this, you should do that, somebody he trusted, and boom, he walked right into a trap. And I think it was a setup from the very beginning.
Oh, I agree.
Now, this situation, I don't understand why Biden, after they did the Mar-a-Lago raid, which was when, in August, she said, September, Biden knew he had these documents. They had a whole system in place.
His whole family knew because they had them for a reason, to make money.
Why did they keep them? Why didn't they just start a fire and burn them in his house? They have fireplaces there. I don't understand why, knowing this.
Because they knew at some point people would come looking for the documents because there'd be records of them, so they didn't want to destroy them. They kept them so they could say, well, they're just here. If you destroy
them, what happens?
Well, that's even a worse felony.
But they can't prove you had them, though.
Yeah, because there's the documents are so classified, nobody even goes in a room without there being a record of who's in the room with them.
So if somebody goes
there's a chain of custody that's documented.
Okay, so if you go and you said this woman, Kathy Chung, and others removed the documents, who took those classified documents initially out of their original location? What's the chain of
this is a little complex.
Yeah.
So
somebody did that.
I want to take our break.
Okay.
And then I'll go through that story because this is why
didn't they put the documents back or say, give them to the archivist or something?
Because Kathy,
stupid.
Their cover story with these documents is that they were brought home by mistake. They've been at the house.
whatever.
The real reason they brought them home is because these documents. Each one of these documents is a gold coin, worth a lot more than a gold coin because that's only an ounce. You know, they're like bars of gold. Okay,
and who knows how many copies
they brought them, or people took pictures on their phone.
Yeah.
They brought them home to make money with them. Okay, to monetize them. And but there's a record of the documents. So if they destroy the documents, not only is that a more severe crime, it blows their cover story. Oh, they were brought here by accident. They're in the garage.
I'd love to know what's, of course we never will, but I'd love to know what's in those documents.
We're going to know.
Well, they're classified, so I don't know if we'd know exactly.
They may not be sensitive anymore. Some of them may get declassified, but we may get subject matter from some of them. Listen, we're going to take a break. And when we get back, I'm going to get into how they got the documents and what really happened there. This is really scary that this went on for so long. We're going to take our break. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
Are you an aspiring leader? Then order your copy of the must-read book, The Growth Mindset Leader, a blueprint for achieving success and fulfillment from professional growth expert, author Brendan Hayter. The Growth Mindset Leader is a groundbreaking guide to developing a growth mindset in your workplace. Through personal stories and scientific research, author Brendan Hayter guides readers through each step of developing a growth mindset and using his power to take your career to new heights. The author shares his thoughts, actionable tips, and strategies of his social media accounts, helping you cultivate your very own growth mindset and guiding you on the path to achieving that success. Follow the author on Twitter at Pilot Hayter, that's Pilot Hayter, and at medium.com at Pilot Hayter/membership. Don't wait any longer. Grab your copy of The Growth Mindset Leader, a blueprint for achieving success and fulfillment from author Brendan Hayter, available on Amazon, and get started on your path to success. There's a key to achieving the life of your dreams. Learn how to unlock your full potential in the podcast Authentic Life Connection, hosted by Master Certified Life Coach and author Seth Lusk. Seth specializes in empowering you to find and live your most authentic and fulfilling life based in your true purpose, values, and core sensitivities. He has a decade of experience working in the health, fitness, and nutrition industry with degrees in human psychology, human nutrition, and exercise physiology. Seth Lusk is here to help you heal your life from the inside out so you can start living a fulfilling life. If you've been feeling lost or defeated in aspects of your life, let this be your sign to make steps in the right direction. Each episode will empower and educate you on topics you can use to make positive, impactful changes in your life. Experience the power of being strong, in control, and looking forward to whatever life has in store for you. Tune in to Authentic Life Connection with host Seth Lusk, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform. Shop unique and comfortable clothing from Organic Wish. Organic Wish is your one-stop shop for responsibly sourced, high-quality clothing. Browse their selection of eco-friendly, organic apparel and accessories. Check out their cool and unique styles with prints featuring trendy designs, cute animals, fun slogans, and more. Stocked with a wide variety of cool and cozy clothing, you're sure to find the perfect new addition to your wardrobe. Organic Wish has hundreds of products. You'll find something for everyone in the family. They have clothing for men and women, kids, babies, even baby accessories, as well as items for your pets. Every day, they add more pieces of clothing, so check back often. All products from Organic Wish are made right here in the USA with fast nationwide shipping. Shop styles and prints you won't find anywhere else. Visit organicwish.store to start shopping right now. Organicwish.store.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Now, we're going to get into how the documents were stolen and smuggled to Biden's house and to his fake think tank. All right. But first, I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. You Patreon supporters, you and your support of this program make this program possible. And it's a great help to this program, and it is greatly appreciated by both of us. I'd like to welcome our new Patreon supporters. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the episode description, as well as a direct link on my website, BrianCraigShow.com. All Patreon supporters get access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Paulette, Carlos, and Dave. Our top Patreon supporters, thank you all. All right, so how did the documents get there? This is amazing. Now, I talked about this on the program, and let me not forget our newest top Patreon supporter, Maria. I just got the notification, Maria, as we are recording the podcast. So welcome, Maria, as our newest top Patreon supporter. Thank you so much, Maria. Okay, now I went through this on the radio this morning, and I want to go through this again now for people that missed the radio show. This is huge. This story I had yesterday afternoon, and I've been under the weather, so we missed a couple podcast episodes. We're making them up over the weekend, guys. This is the first day that I've not been sick, and if you think I sound sick right now, it's only because I'm not sick. I was doing something out in the garage, and I'm having an allergic reaction to something. I was
just having a bad week.
I was so excited. This is the first time I can broadcast well in like over a week, and here I am with this allergic reaction. But the show must go on, especially with all this news. So I had this story yesterday, and I wanted the podcast about it, and we didn't because I was still under the weather, and I was saving my voice for the radio this morning. And I was like, I wanted a podcast about it because I knew I'd be breaking the story, and I figured, well, by tomorrow morning, it'll be new to some people. But this story is so big. How did the documents get to Biden's house, to this fake think tank office closet? And to my surprise, about 15 hours after I had the story, it still had not been broadcast or anything. It since has, but I did break it this morning on the radio. This story that I'm going to share from you, the version I'm sharing is from Trending Politics, which is a very good conservative news site, trendingpolitics.com. But this story has also been reported by NBC News and the Daily Mail. And NBC News and the Daily Mail are liberals, okay? And it's been reported there as well. It's about a woman named Kathy Chung. Kathy Chung. Now, we don't know too much about Kathy Chung other than what's shared in this article. There are not even any photographs of her online. They've been scrubbed from the internet. I did look up the last name. The last name typically is either someone who's Chinese or Korean, Chung. But I don't know if, she sounds Chinese to me. She may be an all-American girl who was born and raised in America. I'd like to know if her parents and grandparents are from America, where they're from, if she's from. I don't know. We don't know. But listen to this. Kathy Chung, Joe Biden's executive assistant when he was vice president, was a close associate of Hunter's. That
could have many meanings. Yeah,
Kathy Chung gave Hunter Biden what General Flynn has described as a treasure trove of intelligence information. Hunter Biden was so close to this mystery woman, Kathy Chung, whose profile images have been widely scrubbed from the internet, that he recommended Kathy Chung to work for her father in the vice president's office in the United States Senate. See, when, the vice president is president of the Senate, so the vice president has an office at the Senate building.
Right.
It's typically a ceremonial office.
Right.
She worked at the Senate office for Vice President Biden, not at his office at the White House.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why that is important in a bit. While Kathy Chung was in the vice president's office, she passed on to Hunter hundreds of the vice president's intelligence briefings, which would include the presidential daily briefing, I would imagine.
Wow.
Which consisted of open source information and provided.
Did Biden know she was doing this, Joe Biden, or not?
We don't know.
Did he know that Hunter? Because if she knew Hunter, God knows what she kind of person
I'm guessing
she
she
is.
did know. He did know. Yeah, I think so.
And Hunter recommended her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at the time he was just, I don't know, is he that industrious? Maybe he was the one selling the secrets without his dad being involved at first.
Hunter's a clown. He would have gotten busted the first time. No,
I
the
guess
big
you're
guy
right.
was behind this. More valuable to foreign services would be the hundreds of phone numbers for security officials, senators, and congressmen, as well as numerous celebrities that Kathy Chung passed on to Hunter Biden. She gave the cell phone numbers, the personal cell phone numbers to Hunter, but these are all classified documents. She gave Hunter the cell phone numbers of President Clinton, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, while she was Secretary of State,
So it's
mind
that
you.
access. That access. she
Nancy
sold.
Pelosi's cell phone number.
Wow.
And the majority of the Obama cabinet. Now, the cell phone numbers, sometimes some jerk will get my cell phone number and call me 2,000 times in a day, so I'll have to get a new phone number. That's happened. Unfortunately, more than once. But the reason that this is, to me, she sounds like she's a CCP spy. She sounds like she's the Fang of the Biden family, okay? The cell phone numbers, once the Chinese have the cell phone numbers, they can get into the cell phones, get the data out of the cell phones, and of course get the passwords and get into their computers.
Yeah, seems so.
And since they're in their cell phones, even when the person thinks the phone is off, that cell phone is a
and get
surveillance
all the
device.
all the text
Well,
messages,
you can hear
everything they're talking about.
They can listen in even if they think the cell phone is off.
Wow.
The CCP could be listening in on these conversations.
I'm sure they are.
This highly sensitive information was stored actually on Hunter's laptop and mobile devices. President Clinton, Hillary Clinton, remember she was Secretary of State, Speaker Nancy Pelosi were among those listed in Chung's emails. So there were over 1,500 documents, very classified. This is what I think happened with that. She was working at his Senate office, not the White House. The Senate office doesn't have the same level of security as the White House would have because the president's there, things like that.
That's true.
She didn't leave with the information. She gave it to Hunter.
Well, how did she give it to Hunter, though? Did he go there?
Yes.
He went to the office.
That's what they
and picked it up.
See, Hunter, because he's the vice president's son, he's under Secret Service protection.
Yeah, he would have access to that.
He can walk in and out without being searched.
True.
Her or anyone else, you would be searched. You couldn't walk out with anything in your pockets.
It's crazy.
Hunter can walk out without being searched. So Kathy Chung was giving things to Hunter because he could walk through security with these things.
It's like the stewardess in Jackie Brown.
Exactly. Well, where's that?
She was a flight attendant, so nobody checked her bags because she was smuggling things.
Yeah, exactly. This is a spy operation. Probably from a foreign intelligence service, and because of her name, we can assume that the CCP, China. This story came out yesterday. Now we got this cover-up, the 8-day cover-up that came out today. I've been telling you guys every day there's been a story that makes it worse and worse.
You've been talking about this before anybody else. You started when this first came out, and you started talking about this on the radio last week and talking about a spy operation and this and that. And then now Tucker was talking about it last night and other people in the media. But you're always the first one to talk about these things. I hope people that listen to you on the radio and on the show appreciate that. Brian is always the first to come out with these things. And a lot of people will poo-poo you for a few days. And then the mainstream media starts talking about it. And then they'll always say, you were right, Brian. You were on top of this. You're always the first one. And I think part of the reason is because you're on the radio so early in the morning, which is good. You're on at 6 a.m. and you get up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So when things break, you get them right away. And then you don't really hesitate. You don't like have a team of people or an editor or somebody that's telling you, just sit on it for a while. Let's see what's going to happen, this and that. You just, boom, go with it. And that's it. And I, like Tucker talks about things. Sometimes he breaks stories, but a lot of times it's a couple days old. And it's probably because they have to do editing, they have to get sound bites together, they have to get audio visual together,
Well,
B-roll, and you're a
this,
one-man band.
On this, I've been a week ahead on every development.
You
in
have
the story.
been. You have
week ahead,
Yes.
and I'm a week ahead now.
I agree with you.
And this lady, Kathy Chung, she now works for the Secretary of Defense's office.
Well, why is it so hard to contact this woman or see this
She
woman?
has been
She's
contacted.
here in the States.
The investigators, and it's very vague on who the investigators are.
Yes.
If it's the special counsel, the FBI, the investigators into the documents at the House have questioned her, they've said.
So we have the House now. The Republicans have the House, and we have real bulldogs in there, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we have Matt Gaetz and all this stuff. What is their next move, knowing all? They were going to go after Biden on Afghanistan and all these other things. Do you think this is going to take precedent over that? I mean, I would think they got to drop everything else and go with this.
Everything else has to be dropped, and they have to have immediate hearings on this, and they need to subpoena this Kathy Chung and do it on television.
Do it soon.
And I know a lot of people will say, oh, no, Afghanistan, the Twitter, all those are important. But if you have too many things going on.
There's so many to choose from.
And that means you have too many balls in the air. People aren't focused. You've got to focus in on this.
Well, this is the most scandalous.
In American history.
Yeah, and definitely
American history.
I would think takes precedence over. And Biden's just, not going to address it at all. He said that people are more concerned with climate change.
No, they're concerned
I don't
with
think
it.
so. He's just totally going to deny that anything is wrong or that he did anything wrong. People that are in Washington that long, they have a real sense of entitlement, and it really skews it alters their sense of reality.
Yeah.
They no longer live in the real world. They play by a different set of rules, and they're on a totally different level. They have tons of money. Do you know what they said on the news the other day? Al Gore was worth $1.7 million when he left the vice presidency. He's worth $300 million now.
Wow.
That is all global warming money. He has become very rich off global warming business.
Yeah, it's a big
very
business.
rich off that. Meanwhile, they're all like that. It's very lucrative. So Biden keeps pushing this global warming thing and all this, and he's trying to distract people. But I don't think it's going to work. His approval rating now, they said on Fox, is 36%. I don't even know why it's that high, but that it's
well,
gone
because
down.
people don't know about these stories that we're sharing now.
Well, they're going to know soon.
Kathy Chung, this 68-day cover-up with the Biden team, they don't know about these things yet. And if they knew about all these things, it would be single digits. Now, I want to take a moment to tell you guys about the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper. Oh, my goodness. I've been sleeping on the couch all week because I've been sick. Last night was my first night back on the bed, in the bed, sleeping on our 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. When I got into bed last night, I was asleep I don't remember. I got in bed, put the covers on, and next thing I knew, my alarm went off and I had to get up and come to work. I went to sleep right away.
It's like that every night in the bed. We put a movie on every night about 7 o'clock. Last night we put on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea with Kirk Douglas. Brian is literally watches the first 5 minutes and then boom, he's out.
If that long. 5 minutes.
He never finishes a movie with me. Ever.
It takes 5 minutes for you to realize I've fallen asleep. I was asleep right away. And I've not been sleeping all week because I haven't had the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. And the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper will change your life. If I could have only one MyPillow product, that's what it would be, the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. In fact, I would have that over the pillows. It's just... You will sleep like you never have slept before with the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. You got to have both,
though, if you can.
No. You got to have both. But if I could only have one, it would be the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. And, the cover comes off and is machine washable and dryable. It comes in every mattress size from twin all the way up to California King and Split King and every size in between, including the hard-to-find RV
We've
Queen.
had ours for 2 years, and it maintains its shape. It's still just like it came right out of the box.
It looks brand new. It's like brand new.
It's amazing.
Well,
really.
everything Mike Lindell makes is high quality.
That's true.
So if you go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, you can get a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper for 40% off. 40% off. It's a great deal. And you will love it. It will last you for years. It makes a great gift for your kids. Makes a great Valentine's Day gift too. And it comes in a great box that's perfect for wrapping. So 40% off the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It will change your life with our promo code Kane at checkout, of course, Kane. You have to use our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at MyPillow.com. By the way, you can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout. But this 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper will change your life. I'm here to tell you. So order yours. We'll be right back.
Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story that's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool, from author Robert Allen Miltenberg, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. Add some wealthy wisdom and energy to your podcast playlist. Join Emmy-nominated journalist Jennifer Rogers Markwell in her podcast, Platinum Talks Wealth. Each episode dives deep into the money memories of your neighbors, friends, and many famous names. Jennifer interviews guests about how their past money memories molded their future relationship with finances as an adult. You'll listen to the wins and the losses as guests discuss financial infidelities and learn from the stories of those who have been in the same position as you. New episodes are released weekly. Start the year with positive, wealth-attracting energy. Tune into Platinum Talks Wealth, hosted by Emmy-nominated journalist Jennifer Rogers Markwell on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Parents and grandparents, there's a thoughtful bedtime story that you will want to add to your child's reading list. From author John Clay, The Invisible Trap, an illustrated children's story about being aware of your emotions. The Invisible Trap is an allegorical story of a child who leaves the safety and comfort of home. Soon, he's overwhelmed by his new reality. Realizing he's all alone, he has to overcome his big emotions and gain clarity. This is a fantastic book to introduce children to the lifelong lesson of being aware and comfortable with emotions. The Invisible Trap is the effect that limiting beliefs have on our ability to function. This beautifully illustrated children's book embraces integrated psychological leadership theory and will help your child learn emotional intelligence as early as possible. Order your copy right now from author John Clay, The Invisible Trap, available in Kindle, hardcover, and paperback on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, I want to talk just for a moment here about this feud going on with Steven Crowder and the Daily Wire. And, you know, I'm one of the biggest critics of the Daily Wire. Candace Owens was attacking Trump a month or two ago, just said terrible things about President Trump. She completely dropped President Trump and just said terrible things. And she came out as a never Trumper. Ben Shapiro, another never Trumper. Been very critical of the Daily Wire. Not only that, I've been very critical about, you know, like they have that one girl, what's her name? Brett Cooper?
Yeah, Brett Cooper.
Brett Cooper. It's not Brett, it's Brett. Brett Cooper. And nothing against her personally, but the Daily Wire, they spend a lot of money on marketing of their personalities. And a lot of it's, I did not realize that Brett Cooper was in a set. She looks like a gamer girl that's in her house and everything. Yeah. She's in a television set, and she has a large following on YouTube. It's not organic. You know that they do all these things, and I'm always suspect of this kind of thing, and I don't trust never Trumpers.
I didn't realize how big they were. I mean, they offered They have 350 employees. It is a huge
650.
650. It is a huge media organization.
I didn't realize how big they are either.
And they offered him $50 million for 4 years. I'm sure they gave Candace Owens the same deal. She's making big money too.
Okay, yeah. So I just want to let you guys hear me very critical of the Daily Caller. In particular, Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, those two in particular. The rest of the people connected to the Daily Caller, I don't really have anything negative to say, but I don't like the never Trumperism, and I think there's a lot of phonies in that. But anyway, so Steven Crowder, the feud's been going on all week. He had an offer sheet, and he didn't say what company it was, but I mentioned this a couple days ago, and I said it's got to be the Daily Caller. I was right, and they offered him a job working for them, paying him the slave wages of $1 million a month. Okay, for 4 years, a $50 million contract for 4 years, and with an option for 2 more. So, been a lot of, talking about $75 million or more that he would have made. And Steven Crowder attacked the offer and came up with this thing called big con, like, big conservatives or big con men.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a double entendre.
And, I'm always wary of the big conservative groups out there, and I'm always a little because when something becomes so financially big, all of a sudden you see, look what's happened to Fox. Okay, so
there's some truth to what he's saying, but he's still screwed up.
Okay, yeah, but
he's screwed up.
But Steven Crowder was attacking this offer they made to him like they were taking advantage of him and everything else. And I watched Steven Crowder's original video. Mm-hmm. I watched the guy from the Daily Caller's response, which was very interesting. And then I watched Crowder's response to the Daily Caller response. Yeah. And to me, and I like Steven Crowder, don't misunderstand me. And I don't know of anything off the top of my head. I really can't. I can't think of one before this. On any of the issues, I can't think of one instance where I have not agreed with Steven Crowder.
Yeah.
Okay? But a lot of times, this is just me personally, sometimes you watch people on YouTube, you watch people on TV, you listen to people on podcasts like this or the radio, you guys watch me. And I am the same way off air that I am on the air. And I've known, I've been in broadcasting my whole life, over 30 years. And there's a lot of people like me that are the same way on the air that they are off the air. Most people are different off the air. Most people, when they're on the air, I don't want to say they're being fake and acting, but you don't see their true personality. And every once in a while, people that are like that, you get to see their true personality. And Steven Crowder, who I agree with always, we got to see a little bit of his personality. Mm-hmm. And his personality type is really, with this particular deal, I think very juvenile, naive. And he was talking about this contract being like a slave contract that they were offering him. He reminded me of those football and basketball players that call the team owners slave owners, these millionaires.
Yeah.
Like they're slaves that are worth millions of dollars. And I just found him with a very entitled wokester kind of attitude.
Well, you had told me that.
Well, he did one thing. He said one thing. He said, this is not about money. He's acting as if he's above money.
Right.
Which Mark Dice has done a couple of videos this week about this, and he knows all these people involved and has some inside information. Yeah. So they were offering Crowder $12.5 million a year. And Mark Dice said that he wanted $30 million a year and that they didn't think that would work. Right. And since he didn't get the 30, this is Mark Dice, not me. Okay, Mark Dice, and I think Mark Dice is a credible voice, and I think most of you would agree with Mark Dice is a credible person. $30 million
a year, that's $120 million.
Yeah.
For 4 years.
And
he's not Rush Limbaugh. Sorry.
So according to Mark Dice, he wanted $30 million, not the $12.5 million. And he didn't get that. So now he's acting like he's above money, but his whole grievance is really about money.
Right.
And I just don't there's a lot of criticism that the Daily Caller, because of this never Trumperism up there, is deserving. Okay. But I was a little disappointed in Crowder acting as if he's I gave an example back on the Celebrity Apprentice. Kathy and I loved the Celebrity Apprentice. You guys I missed that.
Yeah, our daughter loves it too. She misses it too. We used to watch it together all the time.
Well, they don't rerun it because it's NBC and they're liberal and they hate Trump. That they reran that in syndication, I'd watch it again, all of it. The Apprentice and Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh yeah, it's a great show.
And on one season they had Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller on. And these celebrities, when they were doing tasks on The Apprentice, would bring in celebrity friends to help them raise money for the tasks that President Trump assigned them to. And Penn from Penn and Teller invited his friends from the Blue Man Group to do this thing. And the Blue Man Group did this thing with the money they were making for the task. It was in some device where it was being blown in the air, and people on the street were grabbing the money that was supposed to go towards the team, and it messed everything. And Penn and Teller said the reason they did this, that what happened was the Blue Man Group came to donate like $50,000 to his team or something. So what they did is, as opposed to giving them a check, they put the money in a device and blew it out on the street, and a lot of bystanders got the money as opposed to the team. And when they were in the boardroom, President Trump was like, what was that about? I mean, your money was going to – he says, well, money is against what the Blue Man Group is all about. They can't actually touch money.
Oh,
and
give me a
the
break.
Blue Man Group used to do shows at Universal Orlando.
It got canceled.
We never saw it because the tickets were almost $200 a person. So,
I had no interest.
And I remember at the time, they're acting like they're above money. They're all about money.
Exactly.
When it was $175 a ticket.
Exactly.
15 years ago to see them. So how this relates to Crowder. Crowder acting as if he's above money when, according to Mark Dice, it's that he was not offered enough money.
Exactly. He wanted $30 million, and this was my first thought when we were talking about it. He has a whole entourage of people with him. Plus, his family works for him. It's like a family affair, like the Bidens. And they're all on the payroll.
Well, except his is,
I know, I'm
his
just
is
kidding.
legal.
Exactly. No, I'm just joking. But they're like, he's got like an entourage, and it's like a family affair. Nothing wrong with that. His family works for him. He wants to spread the wealth, and you trust your family, and that's a good thing. But the Daily Wire wasn't going to pay his family and his entourage. They told him he'd have to pay them out of the $12 million a year. Well, he didn't want to do that and cut into his money. So that tells you that he is all about the money, because he didn't want to give them some of his $12 million. He wanted to double that, more than double that, so he could take that extra $18 million or whatever, or say he got $30 million a year, he could split it in half and take $15 million or $10 million and use it for his payroll and to pay his family and his friends. And that's good that he's thinking about them, but they just didn't want to pay that whole group. They were just paying for him. And not that whole group.
I'm not going to get in the position of defending never Trumpers over at the Daily Caller. However, Steven Crowder is being more than a little dishonest about his grievance here. And I, I've mentioned this a couple times this week, and I've been getting some really nasty comments from some people. And they're like, Steven Crowder's worth more than that.
No, that's not. This is not about his being ethical.
I don't know,
because they didn't give him the amount of money he wanted. That's all it is, pure and simple.
I know for a fact,
pure and simple.
Me personally, what, and I know this will sound, egomania. I am worth.
Never.
I am worth more money for what I do than what I earn. I've got.
I agree with that.
It's a crazy thing for me to say. You won't hear me talk about this, say this too many times, but I'm going to say it now. I am very good at what I do, okay? Yes. And I've been doing this for a long time. I was not always this good.
These other guys came after you.
But
you were like, you've been around for 30 years.
But I know that I am worth a lot more than I generate. And
that's for sure.
But what a person's worth really is, this is what I've learned. I'm not bitter or jealous of people that are more financially successful or more famous. I don't want you guys to think that, but
you're certainly more deserving.
But one of the things I've learned over the years is when it comes to business, your worth really is what someone is willing to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And that, it's not what you know what I mean? And that's something Steven Crowder, maybe he could make more than $1 million a month on his own doing his thing, and God bless him. I hope he does. I just don't like this thing. I'm above money, but he really wanted a lot more money than they were offering, and that's why he was upset. And I'm not going to go through the particulars of the deal because everyone online is going through the offer and breaking it down. But so I'm not going to do that. I know everybody's doing that, but I'm not going to do that. But I like Steven Crowder. I think he's spot on anything I've ever heard him say. He's very talented, very funny. And I think we're all worth more than $1 million a month, frankly.
I think what happened
conservative movement.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what happened, certainly you are. I think what happened is, and hey, the Daily Wire, I'm sure Brian would work for half that. And he doesn't have a huge entourage.
And I'd work 5 days a week.
Exactly. And he never takes a vacation, rarely. But anyway, I think what happened is Crowder got this deal, and I think he felt insulted by it. He didn't think it was enough. And I think he told them to go screw themselves, and they walked away. And I think he was mad at himself for the way he handled it. And now he has to rationalize it in his mind why he walked away from such a lucrative deal. And I'm sure he has to rationalize it to his wife and his family, why he walked away from $50 million. And this is his way of publicly and personally justifying his stupid decision. And a lot of people have said, like we're saying in your chat this morning, well, they were going to own his name and own his... No. That's not how it worked. And the guy in the Daily Wire explained it. They would only own any content he did under their umbrella.
That they paid for.
That they supported. It's like if you own a franchise, if you buy a McDonald's franchise, there's certain rules in place you have to follow. It's their company. It's their name. It's their brand. You get the benefit of their worldwide advertising, their worldwide brand. He would be getting the benefit of being with Daily Wire. They would spend a lot of money advertising for him, promoting him, and all this stuff, putting a lot of money, investing a lot. The guy said that was explaining, he said, we would have invested over the course of those 4 years, it would have been $100 million, $150 million of an investment into Steven Crowder. And he still didn't think that was enough. They're taking all the risk. And I know he said if he doesn't do a show, they penalize him. Well, I think that probably happens in all media outlets because they're paying you so much money.
No. The reason
you got to work.
I don't want to get into the particulars. Just on this one thing because I want people to understand this. Like, if he had to do 4 shows a week, a month off a year,
gosh. So we'd have 3-day weekends,
and every weekend, and then 2 months off a year, and there were and a lot of time off. This thing about penalizing him $100,000 a show, it's not really a penalty. If he misses a show, they're missing out on advertising revenue.
Right.
So what they were docking him was the lost advertising revenue that if he didn't meet that contract. But the one thing that he did that Steven Crowder did that I think was over the line and is not how conservatives, we've got a lot of disagreements in our own group, and that's fine. Liberals always stick together no matter what. And I think the fact that we hold each other accountable, like this fight we went through with Kevin McCarthy, I think it's fine to be critical of other conservatives like I am of Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. I think it's good that we hold each other accountable in our movement. But Steven Crowder did something that is very unlike a conservative. He did something that was very sneaky that liberals do.
Yeah, this is bad.
This is why I'm talking about this now. Remember, I was telling you at the beginning of the segment about how sometimes you get to see someone's real personality.
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about. This guy from the Daily Wire that he's known for a decade, they keep talking about, they had this phone conversation. Steven Crowder secretly recorded the conversation, and then he played portions of it on his show on YouTube.
That's really lousy to do that.
And this is the thing about that.
That says a lot about him as a person.
Yeah, this is the thing about that. That means that conversation, he knew he was recording it.
Yes.
So he was putting on a show to get responses to certain things.
Like entrapping him in certain...
It was,
leading him. He was leading the discussion to a certain way to make him look bad.
Now, what Steven Crowder did, I don't believe was illegal, or he wouldn't have done it. But in many states, it's illegal to record someone without their knowledge. that is such a violation. That is such a sneaky thing to do. And I don't like that. You know, one thing, I've had this happen to me, some of you may, but people that are high profile conservatives, we have this happen to us sometimes. Liberals all the time try to get you to say things, to get you on tape, to set you up. Sometimes they'll do it in person on a cell phone. They'll catch you on a cell phone.
You've dealt with that on the radio all the time. I deal with callers.
Liberal callers call in and try to get me to say things. I'm ahead of them. But liberals in public will try to trigger you with their cell phone camera running and remember like Johnny Depp's wife was recording without him knowing, and she'd get him worked up.
That's right.
Or, people do things like this, right? Remember Mel Gibson's girlfriend did that to him years ago.
And you're setting up a trap.
Amber, they're secretly recording Johnny Depp. She is. So she's doing things to get a response to make him look bad.
That's exactly right.
And that's what Crowder did. And I know I'm a fan of Steven Crowder, please understand, but that doesn't mean that what he did was right. And I think people out there in the MAGA movement would, I think our MAGA brothers and sisters, if you think about it, let me know in the comments, was it right or wrong for him to record that guy without his knowledge and then release clips of it online? Yeah. I think that is a terrible thing to do.
It is.
And
it's pretty low life.
From my
it's not like he's trying to catch a criminal, or do like a Project Veritas thing where they're recording people that are like really doing bad things and lying and deceiving and that are affecting many people's lives. This was a private conversation between two supposed friends, and he went in and recorded it. This wasn't like some investigative journalist trying to expose some criminal ring.
I think it was pretty bad.
You know what I mean? He this is a guy that he was supposedly friendly with, that they've known, they've been friends a long time, him and the Daily Wire. And but anyway, I think he's an idiot, but he has a lot of people on his payroll. And but you had told me before that he had a billionaire benefactor funding him. And that ended.
Well, that's what Mark Dice said.
That's what Mark Dice said,
I don't know.
which could be true. And so he was used to kind of doing his own thing and doing what he wanted without any accountability. But now with the Daily Wire, you have an actual media corporation. And this is probably how it works in all media outlets. There's certain rules you have to follow. And that's the way it is. And I think to go on publicly and gripe about it is very unprofessional.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I don't like this recording of people without their knowing and then putting it up online, especially another.
But he's getting a lot of mileage out of it, and a lot of people are sympathizing with him. And I think he's using it now as a marketing ploy to get people to subscribe to him and watch him, and I think it'll work.
Well, listen, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with our last segment, and oh boy, wait till you hear what I got in the last segment. This is one of the most disturbing. It's not about the Biden spy scandal or the documents. This is the most disturbing story of the week, and the fact that there's a media blackout on it is disgusting. Disgusting. So don't go anywhere. Wait till you hear what this is. I'm going to get into it right after the break. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
Have you been searching for a fantasy book that's like none other? Have you felt like you've been reading the same boring book time and time again? From author Nathan Helm comes your next must-read book, Kingdom Society, The Black Hood, available on Amazon. Kingdom Society is an epic journey of family and friendship. Alieth and his sister Sindril are separated from their parents at a very young age when an ancient evil warlock, the Black Hood, comes to take their father's body as his new host. Their father tries hard to protect everyone, but the dark magic that he accepted from his old friend and mentor hurts him instead of helping. He's lost his fight and family. Throughout this epic journey, the siblings have to grow up fast in order to become strong enough to beat the enemy. They find new allies along the way, but suffer some fatal blows. This action-packed fantasy story will have you reaching for your Kleenex box more than once, as well as curled up in a ball laughing. You'll find yourself able to relate to the characters more so than in any other fantasy book you've picked up of late. What are you waiting for? Go pick up your copy of Kingdom Society, The Black Hood from author Nathan Helm today. It's available in Kindle Unlimited, ebook, and paperback forms on Amazon. Add some warmth and personality to your home with a throw blanket from Throw Blanket Wall Art. Throw blankets make it easy to add the cozy finishing touches to your home decor. Throw blankets from Throw Blanket Wall Art are made of 100% high-quality cotton. They're made to order, carefully woven, and shipped straight to your doorstep. When you visit their online store at throwblanketwallart.com, browse their selection of beautiful throw blankets, like their best-selling botanical woven throw blanket, their boho floral throw blankets, butterfly and cat blankets, and many more stunning designs and patterns. Every blanket is extra durable and machine washable. You can use them as an outdoor throw on your patio, a wall tapestry, a couch throw, or bedspread. They're good as a beach or picnic blanket too. It's up to you. Throw blankets are a fun and stylish way to stay comfortable, and they make the perfect thoughtful gift for someone special in your life. Home is where your blanket is. Shop the gorgeous throw blankets from Throw Blanket Wall Art. Visit throwblanketwallart.com to order yours right now. throwblanketwallart.com. Are you looking for cute and comfortable clothing for your child? Look no further. Bister Shop, it's all one word, on Etsy.com has you covered. Bister Shop on Etsy is stocked with a wide variety of colorful, toddler, and children's clothing. You're sure to find an outfit your child will love to wear. Bister Shop on Etsy focuses on providing high-quality, fine designs made for your little one to stay comfortable and stylish. When you visit the shop, make sure to check out their colorful t-shirts, zip-up hoodies, long-sleeve pajamas, and baby bodysuits. All the designs are eco-friendly and responsibly sourced and made of 100% organic cotton material. With passed-down quality, they encourage you to give your outgrown clothes to someone you love to help us all protect our blue home. Visit Bister Shop, it's all one word, B-I-S-T-E-R on Etsy, and start shopping right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. By the way, the Brian Craig Show podcast is available on all podcast platforms. Okay. If there's a podcast platform, we are on it. Just search for the Brian Craig Show podcast. And of course, if you don't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. We upload the podcast on YouTube. And when we upload the podcast on YouTube, we do a live premiere on YouTube where there's a live chat. And Kathy and I are in the chat room interacting with everyone. And we got a great group of people. Like when I'm live on the radio in the mornings, it's a similar thing. So, the Brian Craig Show podcast on all podcast platforms. Okay. Byron Donalds, guy, hardly heard of this guy. And then, the speaker battle, he got nomination and all this stuff, and he becomes high profile. And of course, the left are out to tear him down. Remember Joy Reid the other day? She just was ripping him. And then listen to what happened. On Thursday, Byron Donalds posted a photograph of a book that he received in the mail this week. It was a copy of Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Yep, probably from her.
Some liberal somebody mailed him a copy to his congressional office of Uncle Tom's Cabin. And, of course, Uncle Tom is I know, even our dog is upset by it. She's outraged. That where's the outrage in the media over this? Uncle Tom is is a term used to describe someone who is black, who's a traitor to other blacks. Yeah. And it's really it's one of the worst things that you can say. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's a pretty bad thing. And mailing this Uncle Tom's Cabin to him, if he were a Democrat and that happened, there'd be an FBI investigation. The Capitol Police would be involved. But because he's a black Republican, the way that the liberals look at that is, he deserves it. Mm-hmm. He is. So what's wrong with it? They don't see anything wrong with it. It's a terrible thing.
Our daughter's black and growing up, she's 24 almost. Any racism she encountered was from the black community.
Oh, some terrible things too.
It started the day she was born. And we've told the story. We went to the hospital the day after Emily was born, actually, to meet her birth mother.
Her.
And Emily. And her birth mother was black, and her family was there. They were all African-American. And they were very nice, and we met them all. The birth mother, her parents, and her sister. And Brian and I were naturally, of course, very nervous. We were young and, new parents and stuff. And we walked into the hospital and they have cameras everywhere. And our lawyer was in the room with the birth mother. So we walked into the main door of the floor and I saw this black nurse. When she saw us walk in the door, she
Her being
rushed.
black is relevant to this.
It's relevant. She looked at us and she bolted to this room.
Well, before she bolted,
I thought there was like a code blue or something.
She looked at us because I heard what she said. She looked at us and said no.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
She said
part.
no.
So she runs into this room like 5 or 6 doors down. And so I'm like, okay. And then we start walking towards the room and it's the same room this nurse ran into. And as we're walking in, she's walking out. So I was worried. I thought something had happened. So we meet the birth mother. Everything goes fine. We met Emily and all this stuff, did the paperwork, all that happened. And then our lawyer told us that later that day or the next day, she said that black nurse saw you and ran into the room and tried to talk the birth mother out of letting you adopt
because we're
Emily
white.
Because we were white.
Yeah.
And I've never encountered racism in my life before that. And somebody will say I'm privileged, whatever you want to say it. Okay. I'm sure people have said things, called me a cracker, whatever, behind my back, whatever, but never so blatant to my face. And that was very upsetting to me. So I understand dealing with racism is not fun, but that came from a black woman. And I'm not impugning all black people. Don't get me wrong. And then when Emily was in high school and middle school, she was picked on because Emily's biracial. She's half black, half white. She was picked on by all the black girls. They would put things in her hair. Emily has very long, beautiful, curly black hair. Put things in her hair, call her whitey, tell her she was too white, all the time. And she would come home very upset about this. She had one friend that hung out with her that was a black girl who would say blatant racist things about white people while she was in our home.
Yes, it's
in
true.
the car with us. And Emily stopped hanging out with her.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm not saying that this is how all
her
black
friend would
people are.
forget we were white, I think.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. But
she did, though.
I said to Emily, I remember asked her one time, do you ever get any of this treatment from the white community? She says, nope. It all is from the black girls. And when I was in high school, I had a friend who was black, a very good friend of mine, Lisa, and she told me there's a lot of racism in the black community. And she was adopted by white people too. And she was full African American, but her parents were white. And she said people called her whitey all the time because they said she talked white, she dressed white, she ate white. Emily said the black girls made fun of her food. She had white food, whatever the hell that means. So, it's just amazing to me how much bigotry is just in the black community with their own people. I don't understand it. I think it's sad. Do we encounter this in the white community? Are white people bigoted against other white people? Is that even
sure.
a thing?
There's a snob factor, like a lot of people.
But that's not
someone's
racially
white
motivated.
trash.
But that's economic.
Sometimes people say trailer trash. You've heard things like that.
But,
There's
but that's not
white
racially motivated.
Well, white
this seems to be more racial.
Well, no, you'll hear white people talk about white trash, poor white trash, white trailer trash. I've heard a lot of that kind of talk.
Well, yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
So you think that's kind of the similar thing?
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't realize it, But yeah, I've heard things. Absolutely, yeah. There's things like that.
That's unfortunate.
That's anytime you have a group.
That happened to that guy.
Anytime you have a group of people inside that group are going to break down and start discriminating against other people in the group. I sadly, I guess it's human nature.
I think so.
But some of these things. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene in a tweet called herself the top MAGA voice in Congress. And I think that is very true. I know Matt Gaetz is there and Lauren Boebert. Yeah. There's other MAGA people. But bless you, Kathy.
Excuse me.
Yes. Oh, goodness. Hopefully you didn't catch my ankle. I know our dog. She's, one of the
she's a barker.
One of the things about COVID with the lockdowns and the shutdowns, people don't care anymore if there's dogs barking in the background, if they're in a Zoom meeting at work.
I guess so.
Or podcasting. I remember before COVID, Tommy Lahren, remember this? She was doing a live segment from her home on Fox and her dog was barking and she got like really nasty with the dog. She got really criticized for it. She was yelling at the dog. You remember that?
Well, I talked to Emily yesterday.
Now no one cares.
Emily moved to California and I was on the phone with her and Nina was barking and Emily said, I do not miss that barking dog because Nina barks all the time.
Well, we got Amazon at the door and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene has declared herself the top MAGA voice in Congress. And like I said, I know we've got other great MAGA people there. Lauren Boebert, of course, the great Matt Gaetz and others. But
Jim Jordan.
Yeah, Jim Jordan. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is like President Trump's direct representative. This thing where she had the phone call from President Trump.
You're right.
She brokered the whole deal during the speaker battle and everything. So she is, without question, the premier MAGA voice in Congress because she's like the direct representative of President Trump.
And just the fact that
Trump chose her to do that.
Yeah, and the fact that she labeled herself that, she's putting a target on her back. I mean, everybody knows it, but she's owning it. She's not denying it. She's, they say don't deny, embrace. She's embracing that title and claiming it as her own. And I think that's a very brave thing to do, honestly. And remember what she did with all the January 6th people that were in prison. She went there trying to help them and stuff. And, we really criticized her a lot with the McCarthy thing, but then
we were wrong.
Turned out we were wrong, and we admit it.
That
she was working with Trump the whole time.
I'm so glad that Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she got that phone call from Trump, that she held the phone up where it said, so we all know, and she held that phone up on purpose to let us know. I think it wasn't just like here, Matt, here's the call. I think she wanted us to know.
I don't know. I don't think she knew somebody was going to. I think it was just pure luck. Yeah, that she. I don't think she knew somebody was taking the picture.
Yeah, but she's President Trump's direct representative. She's a very senior in Congress. She is a very senior person in Trump's circle.
A lot of people think he's going to pick her for the VP. I think she's in the top 3 for sure. She's very loyal to him.
Typically, people would say no to that because, but politics is different now. They used to pick vice presidents because they could help them get a state or something, and I think we're kind of beyond that now. Things are the country today, people have migrated so much around the country. I don't think that's as big of a thing as it used to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. Who would, and not putting DeSantis, because that's just not going to happen.
They can't because they both live in the same state.
So who would be your top 3 that you think he has on his top 3 list for VP running mates as of today?
Marjorie Taylor Greene's in the number 1 spot.
She's in the definitely.
Today.
And who else?
In the right after Marjorie Taylor Greene that Trump might pick,
or in any order, just the top 3 that he has on his mind. Marjorie Taylor Greene, and who else?
Mike Pence.
No. I don't think he's on his S list, not on his VP list.
That's a tough question.
Tell us in the comments what you guys think.
That's a tough question.
Who do you think Trump's top 3
Not who you want it to be.
Jim Jordan, maybe?
Not who you want it to be.
Realistically.
And the thing about DeSantis would be spectacular, but they cannot do it because
DeSantis.
They both live in the same state, so it can't happen.
Maybe Rick Scott.
Rick Scott lives in Florida too. He's our senator. Can't be Rick Scott.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So
he would be great.
My pick would be DeSantis, but it can't happen.
Yeah. So realistically, give us the top 3 that you think Trump is seriously. I can't think of any senators or governors. Maybe Nikki Haley. I mean,
no, not Nikki Haley. Please, not Nikki Haley.
No,
President
Kristi
Trump.
Noem, I meant. But then she kind of spoke out against Trump, but maybe she just panicked.
Yeah.
Maybe Kristi Noem. Some people are thinking.
Well,
Nikki Haley's going to run for president herself, she said.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, that's not going to
good luck. I personally think Marjorie Taylor Greene should be 1, 2, and 3 choice on that because she doesn't mess around.
Think of?
Nobody comes to mind.
Not Matt Gaetz.
That's real. Well, he's a Florida guy too. He's a Florida boy.
Goodness,
yeah,
all the good guys are in Florida.
Florida is where it's at.
We are so lucky
here in Florida. Here in Florida, we're at the center of the MAGA movement. The president lives here. Governor DeSantis lives here. We've got Rick Scott.
But Georgia has Marjorie.
We've got Matt Gaetz. Yeah, but we got a bunch of them. Yeah. So I don't know.
We'll have to think about that.
Well,
tell us who you guys think.
Let us know in the comments, not who you want to be, who you realistically believe Trump has on his list for running mates.
Top 3.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, we're all out of time for today. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
Get ready for an unforgiving dystopian science fiction ride with thrills and surprises. Author Tyler Drinkard brings you a suspenseful science fiction novella, Isolated Domain. Stolen uranium, a partner on the run, and one dark secret. Hare has stolen imported goods for as long as he can remember. It wasn't the most honest living, but in the Converup, where amenities are scarce, there wasn't much opportunity for honest work. Everything was going smoothly, and Hare kept a low profile until his partner suddenly decided to steal something priceless for himself. Join Hare on an action-packed epic journey as he desperately tries to find his partner while navigating a world full of uncovered secrets. Isolated Domain is a heart-pounding, immersive sci-fi adventure and will have you hooked from the very first page to the last. Isolated Domain from author Tyler Drinkard is available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. Order your copy on isolateddomain.com or visit Amazon to grab your copy right now. Isolated Domain from author Tyler Drinkard.